People who married someone that cheated while dating, how's your marriage now? My marriage is awesome. I fully trust in him again and he's the absolute love of my life. But just because it worked out for me doesn't mean it will for everyone. It took a lot of hard work on both of our parts to get our relationship to where it is now. I will never fault anyone for not wanting to put that work in. Also, cheaters often aren't properly remorseful, and if they're not, then reconciliation isn't possible. My husband was properly remorseful and was willing to lead the effort and work needed for our reconciliation. If that hadn't been the case, I would have had to leave. 8 years into our relationship I cheated on her and I never told her. 3 years later we got married and we had 2 kids. 5 years into marriage she cheated on me. Pandemic happened and we both worked extremely hard on our marriage as we saw the opportunity to do so. It wasn't fucking easy. Multiple marriage counselors, therapists. We took some advice from them but decided to try on our own. We worked hard on communication ourselves, our kids. Now our marriage is stronger than ever. I hardly see success stories out of these awful situations, but I'm blessed to be one of them. I found out he cheated near the beginning of our dating relationship, then I thought I was faithful so we married 3 years later. Turns out he was cheating pretty much constantly throughout the entire 3 years of dating and 10 years of marriage, including right before our wedding and right after our kids were born. I don't know why I forgave him so many times. I think it was a mix of youthful hope and trauma bonding. Anyway, we're divorced now and every night I enjoy the peaceful and glorious sleep of a woman who knows nobody is out cheating on her. He cheated in the dating period. He was just divorced after 20-year marriage. I made excuses for it and believed he was truly remorseful and would never hurt me like that again. We married and as far as I know he had been faithful for over 7 years until he got drunk while on a vacation with our closest couple friends. He had an affair with the wife while her husband and myself were sleeping. I guess they thought no one would ever know and in their drunkenness decided to have a fling for the weekend when we would go to sleep. I'm the one who cheated. I was an alcoholic and don't even remember doing it. I'm not making excuses, it was entirely my fault. It was so difficult. The pain and grief I caused. We had a lot of work to do. He was with someone else a long time ago, and I never forgave him for it. Sometimes I wish I had just left, saved us both a lot of pain and grief. I went to therapy, got sober. We had a lot of talks, a lot of digging out the hurts of the past. I would rather die than to do anything like that again, ever. I dated a woman while I was married. With a new woman I felt loved for the very first time in my life. Didn't work out, because she always thought I will cheat on her, the new woman again, because this was how we met. Frustrating that she told this after we split up. So we could never work on this. And that second breakup sent me to my personal deepest moments in my life, but that trust issue was too much, we couldn't fix it. I did not cheat on her, but she was sure, one day I will. Neither of us was particularly faithful when we were first dating. We were 19-20 years old, in college, and both big into the party scene. After 2 years of dating we had a discussion and decided that we need to actually both commit to being faithful if we wanted to have a future with each other. We have both stuck to that since that point in our relationship. We are coming up on 15 years of marriage this year. We have a great marriage, a healthy sex life, and fully trust each other. Dated for a while after the cheating, then it petered out. Moved on. Both of us had serious relationships with other people. X200B. Then we both found ourselves single at the same time. Started hanging out again, truly trying to be platonic. Even tried to set each other up with other people, but the connection was there. Eventually gave into the feelings and have been happily together for almost 15 years, married for 13 of those with 2 kids in complete trust. It's been over 7 years since and so far he hasn't strayed again, as far as I know. He works long hours from home and has to log his time, so to be honest I believe he probably isn't. I occasionally check his phone and nothing stands out either. Honestly, if he did it again I'm not sure I'd even give a shit. We have 2 kids, one with autism and I'm too exhausted. I just tell him my muffin shop is closed now and he can get at 100 on the side from now on. Is it cheating if I know about and consent to it? Since we were long distance dating or a long time, he was in a college dorm and I lived out of state. He had a one-off non-emotional romantic relationship with a woman he met in college, basically an FCK buddy, and I said it was fine to have sex with her. I married him and we have an open marriage, polygamous with set rules. We have 2 kids and are happy together. So our marriage is quite solid. Got divorced and haven't seen him for over 30 years. He cheated the whole time we were married too. He blamed a dead bedroom for his cheating, but he got the cause and effect backwards. He cheated constantly and didn't like to use condoms, so I stopped having sex with him to preserve my own health. It didn't matter how often we had sex, we were having sex almost daily for a while and he'd still find time to cheat. My 18-year-old boyfriend cheated on me during our freshman year of college. We were 1,300 miles apart and had only been dating for 4 months when we each left for college. He confessed, I was brokenhearted, he felt awful. That was 27 years ago. We've been married for 21 years with 2 kids and 2 dogs and we can't get enough of each other. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me and I trust him with my life. She was coming out of a very abusive later, turned out she was still sleeping with him for the first couple months of us dating. She eventually told me, said we never had the convo, which was true, but I still decided to cut ties and date other people. About 6 months later, I was in something super casual and she called and asked to have 12 years now. I trust her implicitly. Married someone who cheated with their best friend's wife. We divorced and the best friend stayed with his wife. He turned into an abusive husband and they break up and get back together regularly. The children are messed up, the husband never trusts her and has hit her in anger. So if you are looking for an answer on if you should stay, that's it there. Not married but in later 4 years. She cheated on me with her ex, whom had cheated on her previously. They got married and he cheated on her again. She tried to get back with me, after all those years, knowing full well I was perfectly happy in another later. So yeah, I wanted to my cheating partner. The mind of thieves thinking everyone else steals. I basically just lost my couch surfing, broke best friend who I've been trying to keep on track since she got released from the psychiatric hospital because she's decided that a married man with an aging, frail wife is her soulmate, and I just don't understand. Further, she doesn't like my tone and giving her shit about it. Can't save them all. I cheated on my ex while we dated and cheated while we were married. She has no idea the extent to which I cheated though, like I did an insane amount of cheating. I even fucked an 18-year-old girl in the house while she was asleep down the hall. It was crazy the stuff I did. I'm reformed though, I would never cheat on my current girl. I was a cheater. Been together 22 years now. Took years to get back to baseline trust from my wife. Didn't rush her and let her vent all she wanted. If reconciliation is to work, the unfaithful spouse will need to get used to taking the lead and taking ownership of the betrayal. This is not a sprint, it's a long road of hard work. First 2 weeks of dating my wife, I was sort of also seeing someone else. I ended it with that person once I decided I wanted to pursue things further with my wife. Does that count? I told my wife before we got engaged. She wasn't bothered because we didn't even have sex yet by the time I ended with the other person. Went to my alt for this. I cheated once when me and my wife were first dating. It's been just about 4 years of marriage and I've never put myself near a situation where cheating was even possible since. Our marriage is as strong as it's even been, but it is still early, so I know I need to be vigilant. Some people learn, others never learn. Some people can understand, others will never forget. It takes both parties to work it out. If it does work out, you emerge stronger. If one party cannot do what it takes, you have a lifelong confidence problem or a divorce. Communication is paramount. I know a guy who dated this girl in college who cheated on him and he still married her. Midway through their marriage she decided she wanted to try polyamory, so she said and the first dude she dated was the guy she cheated with in college. The marriage is now in shambles. We ended up divorced because they did it again. While this isn't the case with all relationships, I find that people in general don't change. They may say they will, and even mean it, but at the end of the day people are who they are. What you see is what you get. He cheated one drunken night while away at college. He doesn't drink anymore. We went to therapy and we've been married for almost 30 years now. We have a happy life together. But I wouldn't say this is the norm. Most relationships don't work after cheating. My boyfriend cheated on me on his 18th birthday while I was overseas and he had been sexually messaged other women. That was 10 years ago, 2 kids ago. He would be the last person I'd expect to cheat now. He's grown up and he's a real man. Not me but a relative of mine. A pattern developed where every 2 years her husband cheats, isn't remorseful about it, makes her feel bad about leaving him, and then eventually they get back together, and the cycle repeats itself. If you're asking this to see if you should stay with a cheater, don't. Just leave. A lifetime of stress and insecurity isn't worth whatever you delude yourself into thinking they can provide you that a good loyal person can't. Oh, she ended up cheating again after the marriage. And I finally realized that love doesn't just take hard work, it takes hard work from both of you. filed for divorce, and I've been a damned machine tramp ever since. It's been going really great. We worked on ourselves a lot and compromised by letting her have a boyfriend. This holiday season he's staying with us. Only hard part is I don't know what to get him for Christmas. Not me, but my friend who is 62 cheated on his wife early in their marriage. They're now at I think 28 years together. He was also a huge alcoholic at the time, and after he cheated on her turned his life around. Cheating that ends up never happening again and a couple reconciling is very much the exception to the rule. I would say 10 or less. If you're asking this because you've been cheated on, I would GTFO. I was the one that cheated, back in college. We got back together, and I've been faithful ever since. That was about 19 years ago. Sure happy she took me back. Our life is as good as we could hope for. One of my friends cheated on his girlfriend before they married. They were in their late teens, early 20s at the time. They have been together happily with no more straying for over 20 years. Less than half of all instances of cheating are ever discovered by their partner. Many of you probably scrolling here likely have been cheated on by your SO, and they just never got caught. He tried to kill her on multiple occasions. She cheated while married. We're blissfully happy and fully committed to one another. The thought of her cheating on me never crosses my mind. She continued to cheat, so we divorced. She continued to cheat on the next guy, so they divorced, and she still didn't learn. She's now alone and miserable in her 60s. We were high school sweethearts. He cheated a couple of times in high school. I forgave him. We ended up getting married and have been married for 21 years now.